to the Sportz Nutz.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of the Sportz Nutz. Yes, we have 2 episodes today. This is our first one. We have a good friend of ours, Mr. Adam Witten, the play-by-play announcer of your Appalachian State Mountaineers. We'll talk with him in just a minute. But before we go any further, my man's sitting next to me. Mr. Ben, what is going on, brother?
What's going on? Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to have you on anytime, anywhere. Hey, this gentleman right below me does not need an introduction. We know who he is. The man, the myth himself, Snowman. What's going on, brother?
How is it going? It's good to be on with you again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to get going on this one. Just a quick reminder, the Sportz Nutz, we will be live again at 7:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Hey, my buddy right here, Nathan, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Hey, real quick, guys, just to let you guys know, we have a jam-packed episode tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I cannot wait to get it going on that. Before we go any further, though, let's bring our man in himself. Adam, what is going on, brother? How are you doing, man?
Hey, guys. Appreciate you having me. Good to be with you.
Yeah, man.
Adam Witten.
We are so honored to have you on, man. And come on. First off, you feel that itch. It's coming. Football is about to be here. And I know you're biting at the bullet to talk about. This is going to be an exciting time in general. Obviously, we know what's going on with the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt has had a lot of news. A ton of news this offseason. We saw at one point there was a talk they were going to try and merge with the AAC. Obviously, that didn't happen, but there was talks about it. We did see that there have been teams leaving, coming, going, whatever you want to say. We just saw that officially yesterday, Louisiana Tech is joining back to the Sun Belt. Now, we've heard that I have even heard that App State has had informal conversations with both the AAC and the ACC. Could they be making a move in the near future?
It's interesting. Somebody was asking me that earlier today in terms of, where do you see App State or the Sun Belt in 5 years? And I think everyone in college sports is asking that question because we don't know what conferences might look like. We don't know what conferences might be called. A lot of it, I think, is going to be a little bit of a trickle down in terms of I'm waiting to see what happens with the next format of the college football playoff. How much is going to be given to the SEC and the Big Ten, and maybe even to a further extent, the ACC and the Big 12 in terms of their ability to have multiple teams in there, because a lot of that increases their chances at championships. And then as what dictates everything in college sports, their ability to get more payouts for more participants in the college football playoff, more money. So I think everybody is trying to make sure that they are as well positioned as possible to be ready when the next whatever version of conference realignment takes place. App is no different than any other school, which is they have to be at the top of their game, no pun intended. That's performance on the field, but that's also revenue generation, brand awareness, all the things that make you an attractive school when it comes to notoriety. So, I think App's in a really good place right now. The Sun Belt is a strong league in multiple sports, including football. And the move to replace Texas State with Louisiana Tech is a smart one, because as important as revenue generation is in the 2025 version of college sports, with revenue sharing and all schools needing to allocate as much money as possible to athletes, expense cutting is just as important to be able to free up dollars. And adding Louisiana Tech cuts down on a significant amount of expenses across the league. App State doesn't see as much of an impact from that as the West Division teams do, but as a league, it's a benefit. But where this goes in 3 to 5 years, who knows? But I just know going into 2025, we feel really good about where App State is and where they are in relation to the Sun Belt and in the prospects ahead.
I like what you're saying on that one. I got to quickly mention, I do see the Tampa Bay stuff behind you. Yeah. Are you a Tampa Bay fan?
I am. I grew up in the Gulf Coast of Florida, in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. Bucks fan. They're my NFL team. They've got one App State player on the roster in Tyreek Funderburk. The Tampa Bay Rays are my baseball team. They, not currently, but they had a pitcher come up and become a very strong part of their rotation in Jeffrey Springs, who's an App State alum. Now he's with the Athletics. But yeah, that's those are where my roots are prior to moving to North Carolina. So those are my pro sports teams.
Ben, go ahead, man.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, Adam, you mentioned, kind of things moving around. Sometimes you say that in 2025, you guys are happy where App State's at. But looking into the future, I mean, what would be like some potential matchups, or what would it mean to the players in the organization as well, if a move to the AAC or ACC was possible, in the next upcoming years?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say because who knows what the conferences look like. I mean, 3 years ago, you could say that the AAC was, they tried to make it the P6, right? The Power 6, and they were involved in that. But over the last handful of years, things have changed in the American Conference. Schools have left to other leagues, Cincinnati, Houston, moving to the Big 12. Meanwhile, App State and the Sun Belt have grown stronger. Conference USA is much different than it was 5 years ago. And so I think it's important that when people talk about conference projections or where they want to be, they're putting it in the context of 2025 and not what leagues looked like 3 to 4 years ago. Now, are the revenue distributions from television rights different in a conference like the American? Yes. Schools in the American make a lot more money when it comes to media rights. But those are based on deals that were signed several years ago. When this next evolution comes around of media deals, where do conferences stand? Where do individual schools and brands stand in terms of value? So I don't necessarily get caught up as much in the, okay, well, is that better positioned in a different conference than where they are now? Is your conference positioned where it needs to be when the next round of media rights come up? Right now, what App State is focused on is, look, we're in a regional conference, which we love because at its core, that's what college football is kind of intended to be. Our fan base likes it. We get matchups against teams that people care about. So we like having the rivalries against Georgia Southern and Marshall and schools like that. And then filling in non-conference games with schools around the state. That's our philosophy. We want to control the things that we can control, which are our season tickets, the demand. We're sold out in season tickets yet again, which not a lot of schools at our level can say. And so we're focused on what revenue, what things we can control as an athletics department, as a program. We can try to control the product on the field and the wins and losses, what we're doing to help our fan base in terms of games they want to see. Some of the other things that happen at a conference level, we can't necessarily control completely, but that's what we're focused on right now. And if we just could take care of the things that we know we can and put ourselves in the right light as a school and as a conference, we're going to be set up to be in a good position when the next phase of this merry-go-round comes to a stop.
I like how you said that. Brian, go ahead.
Adam, great to finally get a chance to talk to you. I know.
Yeah, likewise.
Your schedule has been out of control, just like mine. But being a veteran play-by-play announcer myself, absolutely love it. And seeing the Tampa Bay helmet in the background, who was your inspiration to get into play-by-play, or inspirations to get into play-by-play?
Yeah, so And it was a while before I discovered the audio format, the radio format as it came to play by play. I didn't grow up listening to games on the radio. A lot of people in this profession talk about, I'd have an old transistor radio or something under my pillow that I'd fall asleep to listening to baseball games. And that wasn't me in my childhood. I watched games on TV, and I learned from the broadcasters that I got a chance to follow. Al Michaels, Dick Stockton was someone that really stood out to me. Marv Albert, guys that I watched a lot of NBA when I was a kid. And so some of those voices, really, really resonated with me. But in terms of when I first realized that you could go and, be the voice of a team, it was Woody Durham. At the late Woody Durham, the longtime voice of the Tar Heels.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was the first one that I really discovered doing this job as a profession. And so, while I'm not necessarily a fan of the team, I have an immense respect for Woody Durham and his craft. He's one of the best to ever do it. And so that was the person that I listened to and followed the most in terms of doing this as a job, being the audio voice of a program and representing a team and its players and its to its fan base. That's the one that, and then I started to learn about the Gene Deckerhoffs of the world, the longtime voice of the Bucks, and was the voice of the Florida State Seminoles. And so, but it really started with Woody Durham.
Man, you can't get any better with Woody.
That's the all-star lineup. What are you talking about, Brian? Come on, go ahead and give it. That's the all-star lineup.
Listen, the fellow, I've said this many times, and Brandon, you heard me say it also. The fellow who did it for me back home in Chicago was Jim Durham.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jim Durham and Johnny Red Kerr got me ready for Bulls basketball. That's why I posed the question, because Woody Durham did it for you. Jim Durham did it for me.
Yeah,
exactly. It's all-star lineup, So Adam, obviously App State has some of the most iconic images in all of sports. I mean, I'm talking about the baseball stadium. Literally, you look and it's in the mountains. Like, come on. Boone is a beautiful town in general. Absolutely gorgeous town. The iconic football stadium. Now, for those who have never been to the South, especially North Carolina, can you kind of describe what they're going to expect when they go to Boone?
Yeah, if you go to Boone, and specifically if you go to an App State game, if you didn't know anything about the dynamics in college football in terms of the tiers of programs and their history and how much money they have, and that's when I talk about tiers, I talk about money, because as it relates to everything else, you'll find that if you didn't have any of that information, you would think this is big time college football. The town is it's a college town. There's a lot of reasons to go to Boone. And right now in the summer, when we're all sweating our you-know-what off, Boone is a great place to be in the middle of July. But during the football season in the fall, the town of Boone embraces App State football, and is as much a part of the fabric of that community as you would find in any other college town in America. And you feel that on a game day. You feel that in what you see around town at the different businesses, the economic success of that town is very much tied to the App State football program. And then you go into the stadium, and it's not going to seat as many people as if you go to Michigan or Alabama or Texas or Tennessee, any other massive stadiums around the country. We're a 30,000 seat stadium. And you're not going to really notice that from a atmosphere and a volume perspective. It's going to feel like it is. And people that have played in that stadium, that have played in other venues around the country, will tell you that's as hostile and as great of an environment as I've ever experienced in college football. So that tells you a little bit about what it's like. There's a lot of similarities between if anybody has been to Blacksburg, Virginia, to see Virginia Tech. App State and Boone is very similar to Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. They're close together. They're in the mountains. They have great scenery, small town, great passion for their schools, a great history of success. But to maybe put it to a program that maybe other people might know just from being in the ACC, that's a good comparison in terms of what it's like. But you go there and it's going to feel like big time college football.
I love it. Ben, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, that atmosphere sounds great. You mentioned all the people together, and even though there's only 30,000 in the stadium, it still rocks the place. I mean, looking back at that place being called Brewer Stadium, was perhaps your favorite call you ever made, or perhaps your favorite play you've ever witnessed at Brewer Stadium? I mean, you have the 2002 Miracle on Mountain, and then definitely have, the Hail Mary against Troy. I mean, those are crazy plays for me to watch and, research and do my homework on.
Yeah, in terms of moments inside that stadium, Kid Brewer Stadium, it's the Miracle on the Mountain is still the craziest thing I've ever seen in person. So for those that are unfamiliar with the play, I'll try to keep this short, but 2002 against Furman, App State's got a late lead of 5 points, 14-9. Furman's driving. They put together a lengthy drive to try to win the game. And with 7 seconds left on a 4th down, they complete a pass to go up by a point. Billy Napier was actually the quarterback. Now the head coach at Florida.
Nice.
He was the quarterback.
Nice.
So Furman, and this is a rivalry. App State and Furman is a rivalry at the time in the Southern Conference. The games were always impactful because those were two of the contenders for the conference every year. So they're up 16-15, 7 seconds left. Furman decides to go for 2 to try to go up by a field goal. So they, on their 2-point play, they try to throw just a little quick slant to the end zone to try to get the 2 points. Our defensive end ends up dropping back. Josh Jeffries intercepts the pass, takes a few steps, laterals it to a defensive back, Derek Black. He runs the rest of the way for 2 points. We win the game by 1 point, and that was then dubbed the Miracle on the Mountain. The Hail Mary that I got a chance to experience and call back in 2022 was incredible, but Hail Marys happen every year. I've never seen anything like what happened in 2002. That's still the craziest thing I've ever seen in person in that stadium.
Even in 2007, Miracle at the Big House. I remember that. God. Boy, do I ever remember watching them go for the field goal. He blocked it, runs it back, gets tackled, and you guys upset Michigan, ending Lloyd Carr's, illustrious career basically, because you guys upset him. An FCS opponent comes in there. It was supposed to be a paycheck game, and you guys pulled off a miracle. Brian, go ahead.
You mentioned the Hail Mary in 2002, which I heard you call. The next day, I'm messaging Adam. I'm like, man, Adam, can I please use that as my call video on my show? He said, man, go for it. That's fine. That's one of my favorite calls. But what was one of your favorites by the favorites you had growing up that like heightened it for you? That said, okay, I know what I want to do.
Yeah, that's a good question. The ones that stick out in my mind, I think the call that still gives me kind of goosebumps when I hear it with the voice is Michael Jordan soaring through the air, changing hands to his left and then laying it up. Yes. And it's just,
Michael,
it's Marv Albert. It's
yes.
Marv Albert with his cadence of a spectacular move, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You can't get over that one.
It's just perfection. And I don't know, he had a delivery about those types of moments that is really hard to explain. And, again, like a lot of people my age, I grew up and loved watching those.
Wait. You just said my age. You look like you can't be any older than 35, man.
Dude, I'm 43. Come on.
Okay, now. You're 2 years older than me. Come on. You look really young, but
yeah.
Good on you for being young looking, man.
Look,
So look, like I said, like I watching those
43.
Bulls teams of the 90s and watching the
minute.
NBA on NBC with Marv Albert and Bob
Yes.
Costas calling those games.
Oh yeah.
You know, those were the calls that I heard the most. And so
See, you guys need to quit talking about being old. I'm going to be 53 in 6 days. Okay, so I got you both beat, and yet I still feel like I still feel like the youth of one of my grandchildren. All right, so I'm good.
yeah. And then you know, I listened to Woody Durham's call of the end of the '93 title game against Michigan, where he calls Chris Webber's timeout, and just the idea of somebody in that moment being able to immediately know that it was a technical foul and they were out of timeouts. That's the attention to detail that Woody Durham had about everything that he did. Because look, it's when you're in the moment of the final seconds of a national championship game, as a play-by-play announcer, you're just trying to focus in on the moment and nail what's happening out there on the court. But then to just have the wherewithal to know that Michigan was out of timeouts. Not only that, but what's the rule if you call a timeout, but you don't have any, and immediately just starts going technical foul, technical foul, technical foul, you know?
Yeah.
His call, the end of that game was pretty amazing too.
To know in that moment, like you said, Adam, what the rule is. You know, I know all play-by-play announcers have had that happen to them. I know it's happened to me quite a few times. But to know in that moment and the way Woody Durham delivered that call, amazing.
Yeah.
There are certain calls, certain feelings, certain everything about a game that just makes it better. You know, before I let you go, we have one more round of questions for you, and then we'll let you go. What is the expectations around Boone about this? Obviously, last season, y'all kind of took a little step back, which is understandable. It happens. Every team has it. I mean, I'm a University of Hawaii guy. As you see, I'm wearing my Hawaii visor. We absolutely have not been good since Nick Rolovich was our head coach. I think this is going to be a better year, though. But you know, like what is the expectations around Boone? Because I mean, you've already hit the nail on the head. It's an absolute amazing town. For those who don't know, it's a gorgeous town. People are very passionate. They're very friendly there. So what is the expectations around town?
Yeah, well, first of all, I will just say that I got a chance to go see App State play Hawaii back in 2003. We opened the season there. I was a part of the broadcast, and I went out to Aloha Stadium, and Timmy Chang was supposed to be the quarterback for that game, but he did not play in the opener. It didn't matter. Hawaii was so good in 2003. Yep. Looking at the box score, we lost 40-17 in that game, but still a fun trip.
You went to paradise. Come on now.
You went to Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind what the heck the score was.
You
went to Hawaii.
Everything prior to the game was a lot of fun. But to your question about expectations, the expectation in Boone is always to win a championship when it comes to football. That's the tradition. That's the standard that's been set there by Jerry Moore over all those years and continued through the head coaches that followed him. And so, yeah. And you know, in 2025, the phrase rebuilding year takes on different meaning because you can turn over a roster so quickly now with the transfer portal. So App's got a lot of new players, and you may think, well, they're coming off a losing season. They've got a new coach, had a lot of guys enter the portal. You know, maybe it's a little too early for them to be thinking about a conference championship. I disagree because of how quickly you can build a roster now. And Dowell Loggins and his staff have been relentless on building this year's roster and the pipeline for the future. So the expectation is always championships. It's to raise a trophy at the end of the year in a conference championship and a bowl game, put rings on the fingers of the players and coaches. Every year, that's the standard when it comes to App State football.
I love it. Ben, go ahead.
That standard sounds great of championships, you know, going for that every year and striving for that. I mean, is there anybody on this App State team that specifically stands out to you this upcoming season, or somebody that stood out to you last year that could surprise a lot of fans this upcoming season?
Yeah, that's a good question because, like I mentioned, there are so many new players. But in terms of the guys that people might recall from last year's team, on the offensive side of the ball, running back room is still stacked. Kanye Roberts was the number one running back last year. He comes in with a deep running back room behind him. So, there's him, but also some new faces, including some transfers that will have an opportunity to shine there. Dalton Stroman is a big target at wide receiver, deep threat, and now he has a chance with guys like Christian Horn and Caden Robinson having used up their eligibility. Someone like Dalton Stroman can come in along with some other transfer. Jaden Barnes is somebody who I was really impressed with as a transfer slot receiver when I watched the spring game a couple months ago. On the defensive side of the ball, Sean Collins and Thomas Davis, as the team switches to a 4-3 look defense after being a 3-4 for pretty much its entire FBS existence. I look for those two guys to be big factors as more edge rushers, defensive ends. And then the defensive backfield has a lot of experience. Jordan Favors, DJ Burks at safety, Ethan Johnson at corner, plus again, a host of transfer players that we don't know their names yet, but we will learn them very soon. When they get into fall camp, that's when you build that depth chart, and there's a lot of decisions that have to be made there. The big question everyone's going to want to know is quarterback. Joey Aguilar is now at Tennessee through the transfer portal, but AJ Swan is a guy with SEC experience who transfers in along with JJ Cole from Iowa State. Those two guys are thought to compete for the starting job, but you've also got experience behind them. I think it's about a 4 quarterback battle to see who's going to get the bulk of the snaps at QB. It's going to be a very interesting, probably the most interesting fall camp we've had in some time, just because of the number of new faces and position battles that are up in the air.
Brian, go ahead.
What is the one position battle you were looking forward to following the most, aside of the obvious, which is quarterback, as you mentioned, the fellows coming out and the fellows coming in, but aside of quarterback, which position battle are you looking forward to watching the most at fall camp?
Yeah, I mean, a quarterback is probably the most interesting, but I think maybe the most important position outside of that, I'll go to the defensive side of the ball. It's defensive tackle. It's interior defensive line, because for two reasons. One, when you're a 3-4 defense, you're only putting one interior defensive lineman out there. And so you only need to go about 4 deep at that position. When you've got 2, you need to go about 8 deep, maybe more at that position. So that's a very interesting position for that reason. And then secondly, App has really struggled against the run the last 2 years. And the key to that is going to be that interior defensive line. And so that's a huge question mark going into this year is, can our defense do better against the run because of the numbers it gave up the last 2 years? So for those 2 reasons, I'm looking at interior defensive line as a very important position battle.
Bonus question on top of that. How key would it be for your defense? You mentioned the trouble you've had against the run the last 2 years. How big would it be for your defense to get off the field on 3rd down and give your offense more ample opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, those conversion downs are always important, Brian, but I think the bigger thing was we didn't force a lot of turnovers last year. Turnover margin was really poor last year, and sometimes that's just the bounce of the ball. Fumble gets on the ground, it doesn't bounce to your guy. Deflected passes that should have been interceptable passes that weren't secured, things like that. So I don't know if it's as much 3rd down defense, which yes, it's important, but the biggest thing that needs to flip statistically is turnover margin, mostly because we didn't get enough of them last year. It's really hard to win games when you're negative in the turnover margin, and we were that way too many times last season.
I love it. You hit the nail on the head. Real quick, are you a Lightning fan?
I wouldn't say that I am. I am. Yeah. If I am watching hockey, I've grown pretty fond of the Canes, most because I've been to a lot of their games, and I wasn't a hockey fan growing up, so my hockey fandom didn't really start till I moved to North Carolina. So I got to ride with my Hurricanes.
I hear
got
you.
you.
Adam, can you let everybody know where they can find you, please?
Yeah, on X or Twitter or whatever you're calling it these days, Adam B. Witten is probably the best place to find information on our broadcasts, and we post clips on there from during the season. We like to do some behind the scenes booth access and booth cams of big moments from games, and then Adam_Witten on Instagram as well.
I love it, Adam, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on and let us interview you, man. We had a blast, and we'll talk to you again soon. Sound good?
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mr. Red.
All right, guys. That was fantastic interview. Oh, I had so much fun. But see, Brian has known Mr. Adam for I'm only dating you
About
there.
10 years,
No.
I think. I think I've known Adam at least 11 years. We've talked on and on a lot. I've begged him to come on my show. Unfortunately, when I get time, he doesn't because of his schedule. And the reverse happens also. See, product of me being in the field for 30 years, okay? And being behind the mic the same amount of time. But it was so great to talk to him and a chance to really.
I'm going to give him your information and you're going to get his information. Then you already know I'm getting it to you, buddy. So, I mean, this was fantastic. I'm so honored to have my good friends, Ben, and of course, Mr. Snowman himself. Hey, Brian, can you quickly let everybody know what is the next episode of you coming out, sir?
Well, I got Snowman in the morning, 5 days a week. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern time. But tonight, I've got the WNBA on the docket as the Indiana Fever travel to Boston to take on the Connecticut Sun. They're going to play it at the TD Garden. Expect a full house, about 18,000 plus. And then Wednesday, more WNBA stuff as the Fever travel to New York to take on the champion New York Liberty. I will have the alternative play-by-play call for both games and all things Indiana Fever all season long.
Which, by the way, congratulations to the city of Portland, guys.
Yes.
They officially are the Portland. The Portland Fire.
The Portland Fire. The Portland Fire is back.
It's back. Yes, I cannot wait for that one. Ben, please let everybody know where they can find you and when's your next episode dropping.
So actually, me and my crew tomorrow are going live on YouTube and Instagram around 7 p.m. ET. We're going to have a lot of talk about the FIFA Club World Cup and also all sports news going around with leagues. And you guys can find me at Inside the Locker Room TV on Instagram and also at NFL Playmakers. That's with the Z on Instagram.
Yes. Check out Ben. Check out Brian. Guys, we will be back with you literally only in like 5 hours or so.
I got time to go get a nap.
You just took the word. I was about to say I'm going to take a nap and just kick it old school. But no, we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves. We're going to talk about there is a new game that is actually officially a part of Vegas. We'll talk about that one. It's kind of interesting. Brian, I think you and me and Ben, everybody need to play this game. It's really interesting. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk some Sun Belt Conference.
And y'all better be lucky I'm doing a Fever game tonight, considering the shop that was wrecked last week when I
Yes. So, guys, we have so much lined up for you, and we can't wait to get it going. 7:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. So, for that being said, for our good friend Adam Witten, the App State play-by-play caller, Brian, what do you tell everybody?
Dream big, do bigger, folks. Don't stop chasing your dreams. Don't let anyone stop you from chasing your dreams. As I always close my show with, man, have a great day. God bless. Make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big and do bigger, man.
Amen to that one.
Sir.
And Ben, what do you say, sir?
I mean, took the words out of my mouth with that one, low key. But yeah, like, I mean, just strive and just keep going. You know, I mean, I've only been doing this for 6 or 7 months, and this is just the start for me. So I'm super excited to, you know, get to go
Man,
to
you
school
got many
soon. And
you got
yeah,
many mountains to scale. You got
yeah,
many
man.
mountains to chop down with the side of your hand.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
you
I
gonna
mean,
do it.
I'm proud of, you know, everything I've done recently, but it's just really only the beginning, and I'm really excited.
That's right. And we're all going to be here to work with each other, make each other grow. As I always
Yes,
tell you,
sir.
peace up, A-Town down, why it's the greatest sports city there ever was. I will see you guys tonight. Take care and good night.